This is my video update from Yerevan, Armenia on this Sunday afternoon, August the 13th. Let's talk about some news. And we have a new wonder weapon that has been announced. And this is coming from the German publication Bild. They are saying that the Taurus cruise missile that Germany is thinking about providing to the Zelensky regime is a wonder weapon, a super Waffe, according to Bild. And I reported 2 days ago that the Olaf Scholz government was considering sending these long-range German Taurus missiles to the Zelensky regime, but only under one condition, and that condition was that the White House also sends the ATACMS long-range missiles. If Biden sends ATACMS to Zelensky, then Olaf Scholz will send the Taurus missiles to Zelensky as well. And we had reports after this article came out about Scholz sending the Taurus missiles to Ukraine. We had reports from some German government officials claiming that this story is not true, that they are not going to be sending long-range missiles to the Zelensky regime. But I think this story is true. I believe that Olaf Scholz is being pressured by the United States to send long-range missiles to Zelensky. He's probably being pressured by the UK and France. I imagine Macron and Sunak are calling Olaf Scholz and saying, look, we sent our Storm Shadow long-range missiles to Ukraine, and Macron is saying, I sent Scout missiles to Ukraine. So Olaf, you also have to send long-range missiles to Ukraine as well. And so Olaf, he thought that he would come up with this gimmick, which is what he used for the tanks, the Leopard tanks, where he says that he will only send long-range missiles to Ukraine if the U.S. sends long-range missiles to Ukraine. We'll only send Leopard tanks to Ukraine if Biden would have sent Abrams to Ukraine. So he's used this trick before. I believe he's using it again, even though you have German officials saying that Olaf Scholz is not considering sending these long-range missiles. I believe this story is true. I believe that eventually Olaf Scholz will be pressured and he will agree to sending long-range missiles to Ukraine. I believe the Biden White House will tell Scholz that they're going to send ATACMS. They're not going to send ATACMS. Scholz will send the long-range missiles. And we're going to see the same story unfold with the tanks, unfold for the long-range missiles. But anyway, the Taurus missile is a wonder weapon, according to Bild. Ukraine strongly demands Taurus-type cruise missiles from Germany for better protection against the positions of Russian troops far behind the front line. But the Scholz government is putting on the brakes because the super weapon could reach Russian territory as well. The high-tech weapons that everyone is talking about now have the potential to change the course of a campaign and have a decisive impact on the war. This is coming from Bild. I believe this is a Google translation, but it sounds pretty solid. So look, Bild is also trying to pressure Olaf Scholz. They're saying, Olaf, you have to send this wonder weapon to Ukraine because this wonder weapon will change the outcome of the conflict. So you have to send it. And something else that I imagine Germany's going to do is that they're going to probably say, you know what, we'll send the Taurus missile to Ukraine because Biden said he's going to send ATACMS. But one extra thing we'll do is that we'll put a contract in place between Germany and Zelensky. And Zelensky's going to promise us that he's not going to use the super duper wonder weapon, the super Waffe Taurus missiles to strike Russian territories, and they're going to probably get some sort of agreement or document with Zelensky's signature saying, I promise I will not use wonder weapon to strike Russia. And then Olaf Scholz is going to say, okay, Zelensky, you promised. I have your contract right here, so I will send the wonder weapon. And that'll be that. That's what's going to happen. That's what I think is going to happen. I could be wrong. But Olaf Scholz's track record is one of folding to pressure pretty easily. So I think he is going to send this wonder weapon. And this wonder weapon is going to change the tide of the war. But it looks like the tide of the war is already changing because, according to Forbes, Ukraine is marching on Mariupol. They are approaching the city of Mariupol, which is on the Sea of Azov, and it looks like the Zelensky regime has achieved the breakthrough that they have been talking about for the last 3 months since they started this big counteroffensive. This is all according to Forbes, and here is what Forbes is reporting. Ukrainian tanks are in Eurozhanye and inching towards Mariupol. The first paragraph from this Forbes article says that Ukraine tanks have barreled into Eurozhanye, the next obstacle between free Ukraine and Russian-occupied Mariupol. So that is it. Ukraine has broken through. They're approaching Mariupol, and once they get to Mariupol, that means that they will have pretty much accomplished their goal of splitting the Russian forces in half and reaching the Sea of Azov. And then they're going to be focusing on taking over, capturing Mariupol. And after Mariupol, I imagine the Zelensky regime will work towards capturing Crimea, and that will be the end of the conflict. Putin will have to capitulate. Russia will capitulate. The Putin government will collapse. Let's see what else is going to happen. Sullivan, Nuland, Blinken, they'll move into to Russia, and they will break up Russia into 7 different pieces. And Zelensky will be sitting on his throne as ruler of all, what can we say, of all Eurasia. That will be Zelensky, the clown puppet actor, according to Forbes. That's not what's going on. So I read this article. I'm joking, obviously. I read this article from Forbes, and there are reports, unconfirmed reports, that Ukraine has captured this village of Eurozhanye. They've captured, unconfirmed reports saying they've captured this village of Eurozhanye. Now, there are conflicting reports. I wouldn't say conflicting reports. There are new reports saying that the Russian military, they are engaging with the Ukraine forces in this area of Eurozhanye. And we'll see what happens. We'll see if the Russians push Ukraine out of this area, if the Russian military decides to move back to a different line, or what happens. We'll see what happens as the day unfolds. But where is Eurozhanye? Is it really close to Mariupol? Is this really, as Forbes says, the next obstacle between free Ukraine and Russian-occupied Mariupol? Is Eurozhanye that important that it is the city that will decide the fate of Mariupol? Well, I went to the maps. I went to Ukraine Live Map, which is very pro-Ukraine. But I went to that map to see what's going on and to see where exactly is this Eurozhanye, because I've never heard of this village before. I've heard of Rapatino, and we've got Tokmak, and we've got the ledge. I forgot the name. The ledge that they're fighting over, which is a small little area up in Zaporozhye, I believe. And Eurozhanye, I've never heard of before. And of course, we have Bakhmut, and we have Kupiansk in the north, which the Russians are fast approaching. And it looks like the Russian military will capture Kupiansk, which will be a huge defeat for the Zelensky regime. But Eurozhanye, Eurozhanye, where is this place? And so I found out. I can't speak today. I found out that I can't speak today in beautiful Yerevan, Armenia. Oh, man. It's one of those Sundays. All right, so Eurozhanye. Where is it? You're going to see on your screen right now how close it is to Mariupol. It's not close at all. As a matter of fact, Eurozhanye is a small little village in the gray zone, in the security zone, and it is 5 to 6 kilometers away from the first line of defense, not the second line of defense, not the third line of defense, not 5 or 6 kilometers away from Mariupol. It is 5 to 6 kilometers away from the first line of Russian defenses. And if Ukraine ever reaches the first line of Russian defenses, that's when the real fighting will begin. So Forbes is celebrating the capture of Eurozhanye because they're desperate. They're desperate to show that Ukraine is making some progress. They're desperate to help Zelensky out, but more than that, they're desperate to help the Biden White House out by running articles like this one, which if the readers did not know where Eurozhanye was, they would think that Ukraine is about to storm Mariupol, and they're looking to help the Biden White House out because everyone is starting to realize that the Ukraine counteroffensive is a spectacular failure. So they're grasping on to whatever they can grasp onto, and in this instance, Forbes is running with an article. It came out very, very quickly as well. You know, they weren't waiting for a confirmed report. So that shows you how desperate they are. But Forbes ran with this article. They're running with this article. It'll probably be picked up by many other outlets in the collective West media that Ukraine has captured this village of Eurozhanye and they're making their move towards Mariupol. You saw the map. You saw where this little village is located. Basically, all this confirms is that Ukraine is still stuck fighting in the gray zone security area. After 3 months and something like 45,000 lives lost, Ukraine soldiers' lives lost, and who knows how much artillery and vehicles and other equipment that was provided by NATO and the collective West after all of this this fighting for 3 months and all of these losses. What this article from Forbes actually confirms is that Ukraine is still fighting in the security zone for one small village. Anyway, that is the update on Eurozhanye. Let's now shift gears and talk about Jungle Joseph Borrell and the European Union about to impose sanctions on Niger. And the EU, they are going to impose these sanctions, according to Jungle Joseph, in order to help the ECOWAS countries in their efforts, and I quote, to restore democracy. The European Union supports the search for a diplomatic solution to the situation in Niger with a parallel mobilization of ECOWAS reserve forces, Jungle Joseph Borrell says. So these sanctions are not meant to find a diplomatic solution to what is happening in Niger. These sanctions from the European Union are meant to cripple the military coup government that is in power in Niger, to weaken it, to soften it up, so that the ECOWAS countries have an easier time if and when they do indeed decide to intervene and invade Niger. That is the plan, and that is the reason for the EU imposing sanctions, about to impose sanctions on Niger. Jungle Joseph is not interested in diplomacy. He never has been interested in diplomacy, even though he is the chief diplomat for the European Union. We have seen throughout the Ukraine crisis that Jungle Joseph is interested in conflict. That is what really gets him going, is conflict. Anyway, let's talk a bit. I want to talk a bit about this. Talk a bit about Scott Ritter and the fact that he was canceled by YouTube, I believe on Friday evening, Saturday morning, maybe Saturday morning my time, or Friday evening my time. The news came out that this Scott Ritter show, I believe was his channel. Anyway, Scott Ritter's channel was completely obliterated by YouTube, completely wiped out by YT. And the terrible part about this is that Scott's channel, well, actually two things that make this terrible, is that Scott's channel was wiped out, uh, first of all, without any type of notice. They didn't give him a warning. They didn't give him one strike. They didn't give him two strikes. Then they didn't give him three strikes, and then give him another warning, which is the process according to the terms of use. At least that's how I see the process according to the terms of use for a channel deletion on YouTube. You usually get a warning. That warning is a permanent warning. It stays with your channel forever. And then after that warning, you get one strike. That puts you in YouTube prison for 1 week. You can't post or do anything on YouTube for 1 week. And then you have 3 months after that first strike to clear the first strike. So if you don't get another strike, then that first strike goes away. But the warning always stays. So if you get a second strike within the 3-month period, then you're in YouTube prison, I believe, for 2 weeks. I could be wrong about this. You're in YouTube prison for 2 weeks, and then you have to be good for, I think, another 3 or 6 months, and then you get a third. If you get a third strike, yes. I don't know. Someone, I guess, saying hi. I don't know. That was weird. friendly, but I don't know. She didn't say anything or nothing. I don't know. Anyway, let's see. Nice people in Yerevan. You have 6 months. I think it's 6 months to not commit another YouTube crime. And if you get another strike, a third strike in the 6 months, then I think your channel is deleted. Anyway, that is the process. I'm not sure about the time frames. I know the first strike and the 1 week in prison. I know that, and the warning is permanent. I know that because I've had it happen to me. So that part I know. The second strike and the third strike, I'm not quite sure about how much time you get to wipe those strikes out, and how long you're off YouTube before you can get back on. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is that they wiped out Scott's channel without any type of strikes or warnings, which I find very disturbing. And the second part about this story that really upsets me is that they didn't give him a reason for the deletion. They just said harmful or hateful. I believe it was hateful speech or hateful content, which I haven't watched all of Scott's videos, but from the videos I have seen, I've never once heard him using hateful speech, at least how I would define hateful speech or hateful, harmful content. So this is a big, it's an injustice. It's not fair. It's not right. Of course, you're going to have people who say, well, it's YouTube's platform. They can do whatever they want. Fair enough, but I don't think it's right at all. At a minimum, YouTube should have given him a warning, and they should have then given him a strike and allowed him to either delete the video in question. They should have told him what video received the strike and allowed him to either delete the video in question or maybe add some more context to the video or something like that. And then they could have proceeded with strike 2 or strike 3. He should have been afforded the procedure that I believe most channels are afforded. Anyway, look, it doesn't mean that Scott's gone. Scott is on other platforms. I know he's on Twitter. I believe he's on Telegram. I think the best place to follow Scott, at least that's what I believe is the best place to follow him. The shows that we've done with him, he said that this is the #1 spot where he wants people to follow his content is on his Substack. So I think his Substack would probably be the first place you go to plug into Scott's content, and then from there you can follow him on other platforms. Anyway, that's my opinion on what happened with his channel. It means he's not on YouTube, but he's on many other platforms. I'm not sure if he's on Rumble or Odyssey, but if he isn't, then he should get a Rumble or Odyssey channel set up as well. So that's the update there. Those are my thoughts on that. I'm very upset about channel cancellations or canceling free speech or stuff like that. It's very upsetting. But what can you do? There's nothing you can do about it. You just have to roll with it, as they say. You have to roll with it. There's a song, "Roll With It," isn't there? I forgot who sings that song. But I know there's a song, "Roll With It." Anyway, Substack. Go to Substack, everybody. I encourage everyone to go there. Let's see. Let's do some clown worlds now. And this is a pre-clown world. And it has to do with SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, the guy that had FTX, which allegedly was a crypto exchange that was being used to take in donations for the Zelensky regime and then funnel those donations to the Democrat Party. Those are the allegations that many people have levied against FTX. But one thing is for sure, SBF and FTX were up to some very shady practices, business practices out there in the Bahamas, and that eventually led to Sam Bankman-Fried, the founder and I believe the CEO, managing director, or was he the managing director? I don't think he was the managing director actually of SBF. I actually think that Sam Bankman-Fried was the managing director of the investment capital company that he had, Alameda Research, and his then girlfriend, Caroline Ellison, was the CEO or managing director of FTX, and it looked like, or at least the claims are, that they were taking money from FTX and they were funneling it into, I think it's Alameda. I could be wrong about that name, but I believe it was Alameda. This Sam Bankman-Fried investment fund that he set up. So they were taking money out of FTX, they were putting it into this other vehicle, and those are the allegations. He was arrested, and in a video I did in Moscow, I talked about how he's had something like 4 or 5 charges already dropped against him. And I said in that video that this guy's gonna walk. He's gonna be free, because he was also a big donor to the Democrat Party, a big donor to the Democrat Party. And from what I understand, his parents also have some big-time connections to the DNC. But I said he's going to walk free. And it looks like I was wrong. I was wrong. And good. I'm good that I was wrong there with my prediction that he's going to walk free. He still might walk free. He might go through the trial. They might find out. They might rule that he's innocent. It could happen. And he still might walk free. But for now, he's been rearrested. They have revoked his bail, and the reason they revoked his bail is because he was tampering with a witness, and the witness that he was tampering with was his one-time girlfriend and CEO, managing director of FTX, Caroline Ellison. And he was speaking to the New York Times, SBF, when he was out on bail and living with his parents. He spoke to the New York Times, and allegedly he had some documents and diaries of Ellison, and he was giving these or relaying these to the New York Times. And the prosecution, they said, this is witness tampering, bail revoked, back in prison, SBF, and that's what's happened. The record here, this is from the prosecutor, the record here establishes that the defendant went beyond benignly exercising a constitutional right to speak to the press, which is the New York Times, he took covert steps intended to improperly discredit a trial witness and taint the jury pool. Now, according to CBS News, the 31-year-old was initially released in December 2022 on a $250 million personal recognizance bond signed by his parents and secured by their Palo Alto, California home. A prosecutor called it the largest pretrial bond ever. So either his parents are mega wealthy or they live in a mega big home. Let's go for a walk. Or he has some seriously important high up connections which set up this massive $250 million bond for him. Anyway, that's the update on SBF. Let's now do a kind of clown world. You guys let me know if this is a clown world. Republican. You see, I can't talk today. I couldn't talk yesterday. I can't talk today. My mind is not working in this Yerevan heat. Anyway, the Republican candidate, Vivek Ramaswamy, he was, I believe this was in Iowa, if I recall. Anyway, he was campaigning and he decided to do some karaoke. And the video is going super viral. And the song that Vivek decided to sing in his karaoke was Eminem's "Lose Yourself." and it was pretty fun to see Vivek rap. And it was pretty interesting to see him dance. Some people may say it was cringe. I don't know if it was cringe, to be quite honest. But that's the video that has gone viral. Vivek rapping to Eminem, "Lose Yourself." And so I want to ask everybody that is watching this video, what do you think? Was this very fun, human, likable? The fact that Vivek rapped and sang Eminem "Lose Yourself"? Or is this going to sink his 2024 Republican campaign? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. My own personal opinion is that, yeah, something like this could sink a campaign. It could, but I kind of liked it. I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it was fun. It was all in good fun, and it's good to see some of these politicians do fun stuff like karaoke sing Eminem. Anyway, I am going to turn down the music because there's music playing right here. So theduran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Telegram, and Rockfin Duran Shop. 10% off. Use the code GOODDAY. I'm going to turn down the music, turn down the sound a bit because there's music playing, and we'll go for a walk for about like 2 minutes through this park. All right? Take care.